Hey guys and girls. So, I wasn't going to do a part two for this sort of introduction video, I suppose, to Generation Zero. Probably not an introduction, it's probably not the best way to put it, just as a, what I think of the state of the game at the moment, I guess. Because I did hold out for a very long time to play this game, because when it was first released, and for a long time after it was released, a lot of bugs, it was very janky, it got a lot of poor reviews, and then it suddenly started to pick up, and I guess the devs started to pick the game up, but so, I did play for a little bit off stream yesterday. Because, like I said, I wasn't actually planning as such on continuing this particular stream, as it were. Oh, this particular game. And, you'll probably notice that my screen is a little bit... I don't actually know what you want to call it. It looks like it's got a filter over it, I suppose. Looks scratchy or foggy, hazy maybe. That's because I'm actually wearing a gas mask, so it would appear that... I'm not sure if like glasses and stuff like that do anything, but gas masks, yeah, gas masks absolutely add a sort of visual filter, I guess you'd call it. I don't really know what else you would call it, to tell you the truth. Outside of that, the reason I'm continuing this first opinions or first thoughts stream is basically because while I was playing yesterday, I did notice quite a few things that were not so great. Very unquality of life is probably the best way I would describe it. I know that's kind of bland, but yeah, that's probably the best way I can describe it. So what I did notice is when you go to a stash, I don't actually have a single clue where I am at the moment. When you go to a stash and you actually start to move stuff around, you can actually accidentally stash weapon mods that are attached to weapons. So, for example, I did manage to stash away everything, all the attachments off my hunting rifle, for example, and then ended up pulling it out to try and snipe something because I thought, oh, you know, I've got a scope and it's sort of silencer on it. That'd be sweet as I, you know, get it done. So I thought I'd have this glorious, nice shot on something, and coincidentally it turned out that I was just about to realize how much I hated myself. Secondly, these assignments actually cycle while you're offline as well. I want to use the word offline in quotation marks because, you know, I'm playing in my own game, my own private game at the moment, so... yeah, I started these last night or yesterday afternoon for me, and yeah, as you can see, these all started with, well, these two started with 24 hours. Obviously this one runs for a few days, but yeah, these two were 24 hours, and now I'm down to 7 hours, so that's good. Now the last time, when I actually loaded up in the bunker the last time I played this game, basically where I pulled off from the last stream, it turns out that all the enemies respawned in the bunker that I'd killed. So that was also super great because they actually spawned in on top of me. So those little walking things, I've actually done a little bit of wiki research. Not enough because I don't remember everything. But they're called ticks, apparently. I'm still probably going to call them spiders because why not? Anyway, as it just so happens, I was walking out of the bunker that I was in, and they all respawned on me. So I had 3 literally just jumping at my face the second I loaded in. It was outstanding. And very not appreciated. I may end up taking this gas mask off because I didn't actually think it was... I didn't actually think it was going to hinder me as much as it has, but it absolutely has. When I was standing in that room, I thought it was perfectly fine, but... yeah, it's not fine, it's horrible. Let's put some glasses on. There we go. Some specs. So far it hasn't actually looked like anything's respawned in here this time, which is good. Because in here there were actually quite a few different types of enemies. I was really worried that all of them were actually going to spawn back in on me and I was going to be in this great big shit show. That's aside the point that I'm actually concerned that what's outside here is actually going to have respawned too. This isn't actually where I came in from, but that's interesting. I'm not sure if that's good or bad. So the original problem I faced, or was concerned about facing, was to get into that bunker that I just walked out of. He ended up having to kill like a lot of enemies, like a lot. And I was actually concerned, A, that the enemies I killed inside the bunker were going to respawn, as they did in the previous one. And obviously, B, I was concerned that the grand mass on the outside was going to respawn. Now, neither has, thankfully. This wonderful cataclysm of long word that I'm not going to even attempt to pronounce is slowly walking towards me as well. Now, I don't actually know what those things are. They say they're rivals. I'm not actually sure what a rival is at this point. It did level up last night while I was playing. It's now level 2. I'm not sure if you're supposed... The idea is you're supposed to kill them as soon as they spawn in or what, but anyway. I'll have to see. I think, maybe. Anywho, I suppose I should start looking at where to go. Also, you can't swim. I found that out. You sink like a stone. And then it just sort of punts you back out. So that was fun, and it seems like the direction I'm being pulled in is back towards where the rival is, so... That's my life now. Seems. You'll also notice I turned the shonky music off. I didn't want to. Didn't want to ruin the atmosphere with that dodgy music. It also kind of makes hearing the prop blades of the drones a lot easier too, because you can actually hear them quite a ways away. I probably never would have heard them if I still had the music on. But yeah, the game, I have been doing a lot of sneaking around, which is really weird for this sort of game. I never would have thought that I would have been doing a lot of sneaking around. I mean, to be honest, if I was playing with other people, I probably would be less inclined to actually sneak. It's just, the second I walked into that bunker up there and got ambushed by, you know, everything within a 5-mile radius. Yeah, that was about the time I decided I probably need to be taking better care of myself. Because, I got my shit kicked in. I didn't die, but, you know, I was running around for 5 minutes fucking med packing myself the entire way. Which was, equally shite, so, yeah. So far, thankfully, nothing has respawned on me, so for that much, I'm actually very appreciative. Yeah, give me the ladle. Or bonk something. Bonk something with a ladle. So yeah, a few people mentioned it yesterday. You're probably not supposed to play this game by yourself, and yeah, it would definitely seem so. I mean, yes, enemies get stronger with more people playing, or, I mean, you can select that on and off as an option, but, even if enemies do get stronger, it shouldn't, to the best of my available knowledge, increase the number of enemies. And playing solo, I've noticed that the number of enemies is where... I don't know what I just picked up. The number of enemies is where you start having issues. As an individual, it's quite overwhelming sometimes with how many enemies you come across. And to save yourself becoming a massive bullet sponge, you kind of have to just sort of... I guess... I don't really want to say the word cheese, as in cheese the system, but that's probably the best description I can offer. You've kind of got to find, because nothing I've found so far is capable of opening doors. So if you can barricade yourself inside a house, for example, and like this house here, one that's got windows on all sides, so you can actually shoot out everywhere instead of having a random house with, you know, one side of the house has no windows on it, so you've got to try and jimmy shots around corners, oddly. That seems to be the best plan of approach for solo play. And that can be really tedious, because a lot of the enemies don't want to get close to you. Like, they're quite content to stay at a very extreme range and shoot at you. And even then, it's like one shot of every volley they fire will nearly always hit you. If not more. So it's not like you can sort of outrange them. So that's another issue I found with playing solo. Can I drive the boat? Of course not. Why would I be able to drive anything? Just jump on a frickin' push bike. Everyone loves push bikes. Now, it doesn't appear as though weapons or anything suffer from you putting modifications on them either, which is probably fairly beneficial. I want bird ammo, that sounds horrible. You know, a lot of games when you put something on, like a silencer or reduced range or damage, you know, usually a silencer does something. It doesn't seem like attachments do anything in this game, except for, you know, silencers muffle sound. Scopes are just scopes. Magazine size is magazine size. It doesn't appear to be anything special. I mean, I haven't paid too much attention to it, so that's good. I mean, I like that. This isn't, you know, a mil sim. Roar. That would be my rival. Didn't realize it walked so far. So, I don't like having to select binoculars separately. Like, you've got to actually put them on one of your hotbars. Difficulty hard. So see, like this hunter, for example, or rival, or whatever the hell it is that's following me. I mean, aside the fact that its difficulty is hard, I don't actually know if these are... I mean, I'm sort of just presuming that they're the ones I'm after. Well, I say the ones I'm after. I'm not really looking for them, but, you know, I just so happen to have come across them. Well, I've come across one. I don't know where the hell the other one went. Oh, there it is. So, like, if in a perfect world I would be running to a building, but this world is going to be anything but perfect, unfortunately. Because I think that's just a boathouse. I don't believe that I can actually sneak around it to get to said boathouse. Well, boathouse aside, I don't actually believe that I can sneak around. I can try. I don't actually know how much give the enemies have, really. As to their, like, line of sight or anything else. It's not something I've really been able to experiment with. And run in water. I'm absolutely getting stuck here. Glub, glub. Did it spit me? Excellent. So, like, in an ideal world, what I'm actually doing is... It's probably the best way to start making an example of what I was just saying. If I can get to, like, say, this little cubicle up here. And then I'll lock myself in there, basically, and pray to God that this particular enemy doesn't know how to open a door. And that'll be my life. I'll just shoot out of windows. Okay, I've entered combat. Ow! So yeah, they don't appear to be able to open doors, these ones, same as all the rest. So then you just kind of cheese the system and you go, okay, well, old mate's just sitting out here, so... Oh, that was a dog. That wasn't actually what I thought it was. So yeah, like I said, they're pretty good at seeing you. It's just... I don't know how good they are at actually reacting to... So that's another dog. So see, I don't think that thing actually has hands as such. I think it's just sort of got a, ow. Not my finest action, that one. Pulled out the wrong gun, I was trying to get the pistol. So yeah, as you see, none of them, to the best of my knowledge, can actually get in. So essentially what I've been doing, and this is what I mean by cheesing the system, is just getting them stuck somewhere. And just sort of blocking yourself into a building and just going, oh yeah, here's good. So then you just shoot him out the frickin' window, which is not so great because I don't think you shoot through walls or anything like that. I mean, I'm not too sure how tough these rivals are anyway, so whether or not I would be doing this in a normal situation, I'm really not sure. Well, that's rude. Guess I'll put that back on. I actually know what it's doing. I actually know where it is. But yeah, this is kind of what I've been doing as a single player person. Every time I come across a situation that just looks like a bollocks situation, it's just lock yourself in a building and hope for the best. But the one thing I have noticed is that the AI tends to want to not be near a window. The reboot. And this is why I said before that you should probably try and find somewhere that has like windows on all sides of the house, because otherwise you're playing this ridiculous dancing game with them. Scan me. And now I think I've really done it because I don't know if it's going to get off the roof. Oh, there it goes. Was it destroyed or is it just sort of running away? So yeah, unfortunately, as you see, there's still one out there that doesn't want to play. The other thing I kind of found that kind of works is to just sort of bait them with flares. I tend to not like flares very much. I don't know where this thing's ammo canister is. I think it's on its arm. No. Be damned if I know. I'll just keep shooting it until it falls over, I guess. Ong! Guess I'm not done yet? I don't know. Anyway. I think I just may have shot its ammo canister off, but it didn't blow up. So yeah, like the other side of the coin is just that these things don't really want to... I don't know, they don't come out when they probably should. That's probably my other big issue, is that the AI just kind of does what it wants. It doesn't really have a rhyme or reason to how it acts and behaves. Like, you can get the AI to do certain things, but for the most part, the AI just does what it wants. And that just makes it particularly unagreeable in a lot of ways. Like, as you saw, there's something up there that knows I was shooting at its mate over there. Do I know what it is? Nah. Do I know how far away it is? Nah. All I know is that it was in range, or it was close enough to know that I was shooting at its mate. That's it. The other big thing that I don't like is that all the quote-unquote sanctuaries are barren. Devoid of any sort of NPC life or anything like that. It's like, it's a sanctuary. And you're trying to tell me that there's no one there, but it's a sanctuary? I mean, what's it a sanctuary from? So see, that was the other point. Like, you saw me just walking up, that little arrow thing that keeps popping up in the center of the screen, that's like they call it a stealth thing, like a stealth notifier, but it's more or less how are you detected, full stop. And stuff just sees you from so far away. I get that they're robots, but like 90% of the time they're detecting you long before you you even see them. That just makes life so difficult. I don't even know what that is. That's a spooter. Spooter. Achoo. I think they have like little gas canisters on them that they shoot off. They're quite funny actually when they're not jumping at your face. Yes, I shall defend the naval base from all the bad doggos. I don't think that spider is actually dead though, that's the only downside to it. Like, I've killed that dog and apparently it still shows up as a target. It does. That's how weird this game is. You can distract enemies with flares and stuff, but it doesn't really make the situation any, like, easier. See, like, that dog there that's not even looking at me, that can detect me. But then I can do that where one of the dogs literally starts shooting at me and nothing else seems to get aggro. Oh, that one did. Spooter. There are only 5 targets. That's one over there. Then why the hell are there still fucking... And I just killed another one. The game's also very, very deceptive as to how fucking many enemies it decides you've got to kill. Like, it doesn't count those little spiders as enemies for one. For two, as you can see, I've actually already killed one extra that wasn't marked. Deceptive. It's a very deceptive game. See, the other big issue that there is that there's not really a lot that's particularly... Yeah, they're all robots. Like, I haven't even come across an NPC. The only humans I've come across have been corpses. And I mean, that's what one of my massive issues is that, you know, you've got these that are areas that are quote-unquote sanctuaries, but there's no humans there. And, like, they're save points. Like, they are, I suppose you would call them sanctuaries, in quoting marks, but... You know, there's no one there defending them, so you clear them out and then magically the game just goes, oh, okay, well, Apparently all these robots have just decided that he is no good anymore. We're just not going to bother. And, you know, there's supposed to be this massive military presence. But, yeah, again, I just haven't seen anything except for corpses. And I just find that really poor, I guess, is probably the only word for it. That, you know, the game sort of baits you along in the storyline with these radio messages that I get. At the moment now I'm following a story that says I got to go down here to the port. Or wharf, or whatever the fuck it is. And do whatever it is I've got to do. But it was left by military folks, which sort of semi-implies that this is where the military was headed. And then you get down here and there's no freaking military. I mean, I would have seen them by now. And when I was where I was before in the big bunker in the hill, you know, they say you get this radio message that's, you know, they're under attack, blah, blah, blah. And I presume I'm going to have to go wherever that is at some point in time, and then I'll go there and I'll find some more bodies. You know, it's just... I'm not particularly chuffed about stories that sort of send you on a wild goose chase after the military, and there's no military. Like, I'd like a game, even if the military does nothing, like, they just sit in one spot, you know? And... you know, they're just there. This is the safe spot. This is where the military is. This is home. Yeah, that would be nice. Not, I'm going to chase the military around all day as this little nuggety fucking student is what I'm supposed to be. And, you know, apparently I'm doing what the military is unable to. I just find that immersion breaking, I suppose, is the one major word I'd use for it. You know, I can sort of understand that if a military has, like, a strong point, you know, you can bend it. A military has a strong point. Okay, so the robots are trying to get rid of the military, so the robots are all going to be mainly focused around that particular area. So, you know, a couple of people running around doing their thing, you know, might go unnoticed. Sure, I can buy that. And then you've just got tanks like this that are just, burnt out. They're burnt out, but they have no external structural damage. Like that. I haven't come across anything with a fucking flamethrower yet. I'd prefer not to at that, but... So, like, and now I'm probably supposed to buy that this old mate is who I was chasing around. Here we go. Yeah, I like the game. I just find it very immersion breaking. And that's kind of a pretty serious turnoff. Is when you set up this great big story, you know, it's not a bad story either. It's a pretty good story. And all of a sudden you've just got this one defining feature, which is like, get off there. You've just got this one blinding, blaring irregularity in the entire story.
Lieutenant Dilemma, this is Major Boman at Vestland. Has the team been dispatched to the radio tower on Norra Saltholmen? We need to find out what is causing those interferences and if it's a precursor to an invasion. Our success depends on yours. I cannot stress this enough. Over.
So now, for example, like a military team has been sent to a radio tower wherever it is. And over here. Now, the odds of me going there and finding anything other than corpses is slim, and I'm just going to walk in and fix a radio tower and be this wonderful savior to the entire military force that doesn't exist anyway. Yeah, I'm sorry. I find that a little hard to buy. You know, it's... If I show up and there's a military force there, for example, and, you know, they need some help killing some robots, well... Sure, I guess. That's better than the alternative that is. So the more you play the game, the more you actually see the faults in it. And I can actually call them faults because they're like massive plot holes. They're that big fucking pothole that you hit every day on the way to work. You know the mongrel's there, but you still end up running over the bastard because you're just so complacent about it. So it's the same thing with this. You set up this environment where there should be like this massive military presence, or at the very least pockets of massive military resistance. And then the game just sort of goes, or the devs just sort of go, yeah, no, that's not happening, eh? We're just going to make you this one little nugget that runs around. And you can be Superman. So what the game does well, it does really well, but what it does bad, it does equally bad. I suppose is the big point to emphasize. So on the one side, you've got this game, you know, it's fairly generic in what it is. Open world, walk around, loot shit. You know, it's pretty basic for everything these days, really. But on the other hand, you've got this story that's set in it, which just seems to ignore everything about real life. And I find that annoying. And I don't actually think it would be too particularly hard to change the game. I mean, I know they're... I'm fairly certain the guys are working on a new game at the moment, so they'll probably just ditch this. They'll fix it as much as needs fixing and that's it, but... Yeah, it wouldn't hurt to actually fill in the obnoxious gaps in the game, in my opinion. Like, the bunker that I loaded into, for example, is a big bunker in a hill. In this fucking hill, no less. That big entranceway there is probably part of it. Haven't actually really looked, but... They say that they saw some of the droids getting inside, and you're like, well, hang on, how did they get inside? The big assault bots can't get in there. Even if they could, it's all slim tunnels. I mean, you imagine that military firepower. If me and my little fucking 32 pistol can get in there, then surely the military can keep things out. I will say that the weight in this game seems to be pretty forgiving too. That is something I noticed. You can carry quite a bit, which I'm pretty impressed about, because games like this are usually fairly unforgiving about what you can lug around. For instance, those gas cans I picked up a minute ago, the 5 gas cans. Like, I don't know about any of you guys, but if you've ever tried to pick up even one of those gas cans, they're pretty heavy. The full ones. They're like, well, for my American viewers, I'm sorry, but they're like 10, 15 kilos, maybe 20 kilos if you get a decent size one. They're not light. And I've just whacked up 4 of them, and I'm just like, yep, this is my life. I'm good. So once again, I suppose immersion breaking, but at the same time, I'm not going to complain about actually for once being able to carry things. I could think there's nothing more annoying than being in a game like this and they're like, oh, you've picked up a gas cylinder. That's it. Nothing else for you, buddy. The little sound effects are quite nice too, like the wind gushing outside. When you're in a house, like that's quite nice. Brrr. See, so now I just ran down a hill and apparently something's detected me. That's where this is at. I mean, I can hear it. I've been hearing it for a while. I haven't seen it, so. I mean, it could also be inside that bunker there that I'm heading into. Rough, rough, rough. So, and those little tight claustrophobic spaces are really, really annoying as a single person too. Every time I have to go into one of these bunkers, it just sends me into sensory overdrive. Because usually they've got no power, yeah. Tight walls, they've got no power. You fucking take 2 steps one way and you've got 2 different targets that are both looking at you. I don't actually even know if I'm hitting that. Flares don't fucking last at all. Like, these are supposed to be emergency flares. They last about 5 fucking seconds. They're also supposed to be used to bait enemies, but they just do a shocking job of it because enemies just fucking shoot at it. Zzzt. I don't even know if I'll be able to shoot that thing from there. And now, oddly, like, there's two enemies in here. You can't tell me that a shotgun in a freaking concrete bunker is not going to alert the world. But apparently this guy's just living his best life. There you go, he's worked it out now. Took him a little while, but he got there in the end. So, I mean, I think the game is actually done and released and DLC'd and everybody's happy and hale and whole with it. I'm not actually sure if they're working on it at all anymore. That said, if they are still working on it, it would... it'd definitely benefit them to actually invest in, like, fixing up some of the blaring discrepancies in the game. Which, I find just blatantly annoying, but... You know, I suppose other people might not, I don't know. I guess I just don't like playing games like this where you are forever hearing stuff on the radio, like people actually talking and actually doing stuff. And you get to the location that they're actually there, and there's no one there. They're all gone, or they're dead, or... Oh, I don't know. So see here, here's me old mate that went to the fucking naval bunker. That's it, that's all that's here. Him, one man. So far. And now, like, this right here, this is my life in these bunkers, literally. And that is why I absolutely loathe these bunkers. Oh yeah, that's fucking cool. Fuck that, I'll come back later. Enjoy, buddy. Come back with an assault rifle and try me luck again another day. I suppose I could open this door and just bait him out, really. I'm pretty sure this door will open. No, this door won't open, no power. But yeah, like, that's the other thing I hate about those bunkers, is you walk into them and there's no light at all. Like, it is pitch black. And I mean, I suppose I can sort of see it, but at the same time, it just makes things so annoying. Because it just makes it so claustrophobic and annoying, and your light sets them off, and yeah, it's just one big and downward spiral. So, I mean, that's so far just a few of the things I wish they'd touch base on, at the very least. I kind of get that they'd probably have to change some of the scenarios, like a lot of the places that you just show up to, the military bases, and there's no military there, there's just robots. But, yeah, it's just that thing, like, you're telling me that, the military lost a military fucking bunker full of weapons and shit, and they're not going to take it back, or they're not going to move back in there. And the robots that went in there in the first place are just like, oh yeah, we're done here. As soon as I walk in and clear it out. Come on, guys. Fuck is that? So yeah, I actually think that detecting me right now is that robot that's in the tunnel. I actually believe that's what that is. The one I left back there. Because yeah, if we pull out our binoculars, that's not a binoculars. And we have a quick goosey. There is nothing in sight anywhere except for right there in the middle of a fucking hill, which is right where we left that bloke. And he is currently tripping on and off of detection of me. And I'm just supposed to think that that's normal. And then you come into places like this, like there's beds everywhere. And there's no one, like they're all boarded up. There's supplies everywhere, and there's just no one. No one's here.
If you hear this out there, know that you're not alone. There are more of us. We're holed up in a safe house at a farm near Dyvik's Udde Pier for now. It's easy to barricade. We have a few guns and some food, but not much. Maybe it's isolated enough so those things won't find us right away. We're not sticking around long, though. We're looking for a way out of here by boat. Join us there. Strength in numbers. Roland, Anita, Doris, Gösta, Björn, and Stina.
So yeah, again, another radio message that states there's people around, but when I get there, they'll be long gone and or dead. Despite it being easy to barricade and they have some guns and it's out of the way. There's something about a game that sort of coaxes you on with false promises that I really don't enjoy. Like, oh, I'm going to come across some NPCs, and I know they won't help me, but, you know, seeing another NPC in a game like this is just, it's something. It just makes it so that you're not the only human being, like it's not 28 days later or something. And now I've got this frickin' robot that's constantly tagging me as detected. No, it hasn't actually detected me, but it's keeping me that way. Now I'm stuck on a wheelbarrow. Totally safe. So I suppose I'll just wander up this road and see if I can get pinged by something else, I guess. I like how one of my daily challenges, though, is to ride a bike for a kilometer and not fall off. Like, I'm absolutely not going to lie to anybody. The way the bike handles in this game, I don't like the odds of anybody getting a kilometer and not getting yeeted. The second you hit a stone on that thing, the bike just launches you. But I do suppose with mates it wouldn't be too bad because you'd probably have somebody who's carrying around a few more weapons. So you wouldn't kind of have your own little sort of mini arsenal. You'd actually have a little bit more variety in what you're carrying around. I mean, I think I may actually be carrying an assault rifle myself, but I may have... I don't even know if I am. No, I'm not. I dumped it to make some... reduce my weight. But, so yeah, you'd be a lot less inclined to be a lot less careful. A lot more inclined to be less careful, I should say. Whereas for me, I'm constantly just trying not to get belted by stray bullets. By things that spot me well before I spot them. And I mean, this is also supposed to be in the 80s, don't forget, so... Let's not remember... let's not forget, should I say, that robotics back then was in its infancy. So, I mean, it's one thing to build these wonderful, big, nasty, chargy robots, but they wouldn't, you know, the sensors and everything in them wouldn't be particularly grand. Maybe the big, massive ones, but... minimalist, like, sensors and stuff on robotics back then. You're right. So once again, something has seen me. I can't see it. And it wasn't that. That one that's in the military colors actually didn't see me. I really got to stop overcompensating that bullet drop. I don't even know if there is. That shit for yourself. So, like, if I had another friend there, the amount of health I would have lost in that engagement would have been like a fraction of what that was. I kind of just find that annoying, you know? Something else just saw me. Oh, there's a spooter somewhere. So see, these little sort of set up military encampments, I can see just being absolutely decimated. Totally. These guys are in a fucking tent. You know, they've got no real defense at all. Well, they have none. Let's be real here, they've got absolutely none. They've obviously fucking taxed some. Because these aren't mine. But yeah, I'm led to believe that outside of dead bodies, there's no military anywhere. Come on, guys. And then I just show up and I'm just like, oh yeah, I'll just take all this shit then. You don't need it. This guy's a fucking corporal. A fucking corporal. This fellow. He's out here in the fucking twigs. Well, the letter's next to him. I'm assuming he's the corporal. Oh no, sprinting disabled, I am too fatty. So yeah, now I'm actually just really stuffed because now I can't sprint. Not that I do a lot of sprinting anyway, because the sprinting is shit, but... And apparently that fucking plant's too big for me to walk through. I kind of appreciate that the game gives you a story to follow. I do like that. It's just... nothing's particularly well marked out either, which really makes things annoying. Scarven bunker full of what sounds like freaking gas. I'm absolutely not going down there. All I hear is gas hissing and I know where that's going to go. Did it mark it? Yep, good. Save it for Ron. That's another thing I've noticed too, is that there's a lot of times, like right now, where I'm absolutely loaded up with gear. Like that's the second place I've actually walked clean past because I just couldn't pick anything up. Like I know I'm still sort of looking for loot, but you know, what am I going to get out of a couple of houses? Maybe some bullets. So I'll probably give that guy a miss. And I'll head over to what looks to be... Cathedral? And hopefully that cathedral will be a safe house. So I can save and call this stream a stream. Because, yeah, I only really wanted to do another short stream today just to sort of pick back up on some things I noticed and mention some more stuff I did and didn't like about the game. Because, I mean, yesterday I was sort of did a very brief introductory video, and today I wanted to do something a bit more in-depth, I guess. Because I know a lot of people were in my situation where they've seen the game looks interesting, but you look at the Steam reviews and the Steam reviews are freaking awful. And admittedly, I myself held off on the game for a long time just because of the Steam reviews. So like these are fresh, for example, they're smoking. Can we assume that this guy may have killed them? Well, I suppose so. I suppose we could let that fly. Something has seen me again. Through the realms of God only knows what. So yeah, this is a safe house, thankfully. Horse. But like, what makes the church safe? Like, what makes this safe? There's no one here. Some pants and some bloody battery lights, but that's it. And a dead bloke at the top of the stairs. Who may or may not have been helping his mate tidy up those things. Just, there's a lot I don't really get about this game. Like, for example, if you want my opinion, here is where you'd find just, you know, a little group of NPC civilians that this is just where they're holding up. You know, this is where life has left them. They're stuck in a church. They've just lost 2 guys. You know, life's pretty shit. But no, instead now we've just got a fucking sewing machine and... yeah. Apparently I'm just here picking up the pieces. And that supposedly makes it safe, quote unquote. It just, yeah, there's a lot of things that don't really add up. I am pretty happy to note that I am getting some better equipment though, some 2 crown equipment. That's particularly good to know. Suppose I can recycle that. Right. I suppose I can recycle that. And that. I'll stash one of those and keep one of those. A few other bits and bobs in my stash, actually, that I can bring that. Oh, cool, a handgun compensator. I don't really know why I would want a handgun compensator when this gun kind of emphasizes silencers, but whatever. It's just another one of those things, I guess. So yeah, actually that's a good point. How many of those fucking... So I'm carrying 8 of these gas cylinders. Little ones like that, like I said, they're about 10 kilos or 15 kilos. They're not light and they're full of gas. And apparently they're telling me that those 8, they're a kilo each, apparently. This game tells me that everything's supposed to be in metric, so... see what I can melt before I finish this up. Probably want to keep the landmine. I don't have enough field radios. Boo. I have like a dozen sets of binoculars now. I can't emphasize enough, though, how much I do appreciate this game giving you like a global inventory. Inventory, really. You stuff stuff in one recycling station, it's available everywhere. Your stash is everywhere. Like, I really can't emphasize how good that is. Yeah, apparently these... I didn't know. I wasn't actually sure if there were different qualities of like weapon attachment. Apparently there are, so that's really cool. Don't need the handgun compensator because I use a silencer. Don't have good one of those. I only have one handgun. I suppose I can I melt the crap silencer? I suppose so. That one says I can. Don't need a dozen rifle silencers, because they don't go on these. Probably don't need a dozen single crown scopes. Like, I can hear those robots just stomping around outside. And this is supposed to be safe. Where are your fingers? Like, I'm really sorry. It's not safe. I don't care what you say. You can put a rifle scope on those, I was wondering. So I'll stash that one in case anybody ends up playing with me. Melt down another one of those rifle scopes. Oh, that's in the weapon. Don't take that. The other thing I don't like is that you actually need like a set number of some items to melt them down. Like if I go over to, say, my equipment, for example, like these field radios require 5 to melt down. Why would I require 5 radios? 5 boom boxes. 5 regular radios. Like, it's a bit ridiculous, really. I think I just pulled them back across. So there's a lot of stuff I do like, and there's a lot of stuff I absolutely hate. Did I ever end up putting that better sight on that one? No. I don't know what I did with it. I'm hoping I put it over here. Oh, it was a free thing. I probably didn't want to risk losing it. You actually have to find, like, magazines to be able to craft stuff too. Like, it's not just craft away. Like, you don't even have any sort of starting area. You just got the clothes on your back and that's it, whatever you pick up in the meantime. And then you kind of got to just sort of go, okay, well, I'll go through everything and I'll see what I can wear that's worth anything. And half of them aren't worth anything. Half of the shit you pick up is just useless. So yeah, if you got a couple of mates you can piss around with, I suppose it would be quite fun because you know you could chat away while you're walking around doing shit. But frankly, as a solo game, it's quite dull and at times claustrophobic, I would actually say. Like when it forces you to go into those bunkers, when you're in those bunkers by yourself. And as I said, with more people, it just scales difficulty. It doesn't scale enemy amount. So more often than not, you're actually probably fighting enough enemies for 2 people, I would say, sometimes 3. But the game is just like, oh no, it's too bad, you're by yourself. Suck it up and deal with it. And that's pretty crap. Like, for example, when I was trying to get in that first bunker, I think I was actually in combat for about half an hour straight. I blew through all of my pistol ammo, all of my rifle ammo. I just had shotgun and hollow point pistol rounds left against like military robots, so they've got little armor plates on them and shit. So yeah, it really wasn't fun. A lot of them didn't really try and push me or anything, which was, I suppose, I don't know whether it was nice or just dumb luck, but it was still extremely unpleasant because they kind of had me stuck behind trees and rocks half the time, and you know I think they shoot like volleys of 4 or 5 rounds, and then you stick your head out and you fire a couple of times, and because you're at range, you can't ever see them in the forest, so you're kind of shooting it where their lights are and hoping you hear a ping, as opposed to nothing, so you know that you're hitting them, and not just shooting into shrub. Yeah, it's not great. And I was just thinking, like, if you had a mate, you know, they wouldn't all be shooting at you. They'd be shooting at your mate, or, you know, your mate could be shooting at them while they're shooting at you and you're cowering behind a tree. Every time you stick your head out, it catches bullets. So yeah, all in all, if you've got mates to play with, then yeah, it's not a bad game. But if you're playing solo, I'd probably give it a miss. But yeah, from everything else I've said for today, that's my final assessment. Now, I will say that tomorrow I'm planning on getting stuck behind a fucking church pew. Planning on doing like a little beginner's tip thing for Arknights. Whether it plays out that way, I'm not sure, but that's what I'm planning at the moment. So if you're one of the people who have been just recently starting Arknights, then yeah, tune in. Bring questions if you want, and yeah, I'm going to just be doing like a where you should start, what you should look for, and you know, nothing too overly technical. Just really, really basic starting points for you guys and starting out in Arknights. Because I've seen a lot of guides and a lot of them are just these really eccentric people that are like, yeah, you should not do this. Yeah, they're just those typical bullshit starting guides. So I kind of wanted to do something a little bit more down to earth. A little bit more grounded and realistic. And yeah, that's the hope. I'm now stuck in a church pew. I knew I was going to get... Oh, there we go. What is that? It sounds fucking huge. Let me out. I want to stand on the pew, not get stuck in it. Got me curious now. That looks special, doesn't it? Looks like a big boy. Anyway, yep. So tomorrow, that's what my plan is. Sort of like a little where you should start, I guess, guide to Arknights. As opposed to a beginner's guide. So, give you some direction, give you some thoughts onto what you should be looking at, focusing on, especially what operators you should be focusing on, as opposed to maybe jumping way too far ahead of where you're at in the game too early and then sort of butchering yourself for later on. Yeah, that sort of stuff. Just some fundamental groundwork stuff, as opposed to the eccentric rubbish that most people put out. So yeah, if you're new to Arknights, or if you know someone who is new to Arknights, tell them to tag along tomorrow. Same time, same place. It'll be archived on YouTube if they can't make it. So yeah, direct them to my YouTube channel as well if they can't make it. And I hope to see you guys tomorrow.